I welcome you back to the Chapter 11 Support Conversations. So this one will basically feature Shez, Dimitri, and Dedue. This one will be a long one because Shez has so many, and then Dimitri and Dedue have the same amount. Technically. So we're gonna go ahead and get into this one because this will be a long one. So get your snacks because this is gonna take a few minutes.
Hey, Rodrigue, you got a sec?
What's the matter? You look troubled.
Well, we ended up spending most of this winter out on the battlefield. So, I was thinking, if we put an end to the war before next winter rolls around, maybe we could all go back north and...
And? Speak plainly.
I want to have a snowball fight. Dimitri said that's how all the kids in Fargus played during the winter. I figure it'd be good to try at least once, now that I'm living here in the kingdom.
Ha ha ha! Yes, a fine idea. The sport's rather profound, if I do say so myself. Dividing into factions and formulating strategies makes it just as much a battle of minds as it does one of hurled snow.
Hold on, strategy? This sounds kinda intense for a kid's game.
It is. When we were still in the throes of our youth, Lambert, Matthias, and I faced off in such a contest. With our squires in tow, we traveled to the northern mountains to do battle.
Hey, that sounds like fun. So, what happened?
I was the first to fall. I hid in the shadows, biding my time and observing the enemy's movements until the moment was right to strike. And yet, such an opportunity never came. While his subordinates fought freely in the open, His Majesty launched a surprise attack on my position. Unfortunately, my men and I were unable to land even a single blow on him. Our defeat was a matter of course.
Now I know where Dimitri gets his tendency to rush into battle alone. Like father, like son, huh?
Indeed. Still, it's difficult to feel wronged when you've been defeated in such a swift and skillful manner. My downfall left only Lambert and the Margrave, a man notorious for his rotten character even as a child. His strategy was not to attack outright, but to prepare an ambush for His Majesty in one of the more densely wooded groves.
Seriously? All that for just a snowball fight? No wonder Sylvain is so cunning. Anyway, what happened next?
We were all familiar with Matthias's ignoble tactics, so His Majesty was careful to avoid the cowardly ambush which had been laid for him. At last, just as the opposing generals were staring each other down, Gunnar, the current Count Galatea and noble, many years our senior, emerged from the wood to put a stop to it. In the end, our final showdown that day was between his hands and the scruffs of our necks, all while our ears rang with his dire warnings about the mountains.
That sounds like Ingrid's dad, all right. Guess that means nobody won, huh?
Yes, the story dates back several decades, but I still remember it as if we were trudging through the snow only yesterday. Say, if you do end up mustering an army for one of these snowball battles, I would be honored to observe, should you have me.
I'll ask him to join in.
Why don't you join us? As one of the combatants, I mean. I'm sure Dimitri and the Margrave won't mind. You won't be facing the same opponents, but maybe then you'll finally settle the score. For old time's sake.
A sound point. Very well. I'd be thrilled to partake when the time comes. You know, of late I've been dreading the coming winter, but now I feel I may actually look forward to it.
That was a conversation I did not expect between them.
Hey, I was wondering if I could ask you something. I heard that you don't have any parents. Is that right?
Yeah, The woman who raised me died, and I don't even know who my birth parents are.
That must be tough for you, huh?
It weighs on him.
I don't really feel sad about it or anything, but I do think about my birth parents sometimes. It can weigh on me, not knowing who I really am, you know?
Well, you might not know who you are, but you still work hard and you keep your chin up through it all. That makes you super strong in my book.
Pretty much what Raph is doing.
Hey, Raphael, your parents are gone too, right?
Yeah, both my mom and pa died in an accident.
Well, then you're just as strong as I am. You work harder than anyone I know, and you do it all with the biggest grin in the world.
Of course! It's easy when you love training as much as I do. Hey, I just realized something. We've sure got a lot in common. Our parents aren't with us anymore. We're both commoners scraping our way through this war, and most importantly...
What can be more important than that?
Meat.
Both of us have got some serious brawn!
On their bones.
I appreciate that, but our body types are completely different. Not sure this really counts as brawn.
Sure, you're a little scrawnier than me, and maybe a lot smarter. But you know, my brain's been getting a constant workout ever since we opened the inn.
You have an inn?
Oh, yeah. I went home and started one up with my grandpa and little sis once the academy shut down. Running a business like that takes a surprising amount of muscle. Sure, there's regular stuff like hauling things around, but you need brain power too. If you ever want to make a profit, you have to pay real close attention to keeping the books straight. I mostly let my sis handle that stuff though. That muscle still needs more work for me. Which means I'm in charge of the cooking. But that has its own share of problems.
He's learning from Ashe, I believe.
Yeah, it can be tough to find your footing when you switch jobs, especially if you have to start doing things outside your wheelhouse. Trust me, I've had my fair share of growing pains getting used to the army life. Everything's way different from how it worked with my merc groups.
But don't you just fight? That doesn't seem so different to me.
It's more responsibility.
As a mercenary, the only thing you're responsible for is yourself. Show up and do the job right, and you'll get your pay. But having soldiers to command, people I'm in charge of beyond just myself, that's a huge change for me. And there's way more to military work than just plain combat. Stuff like managing resources, making sure everyone has the weapons and armor they need. I don't think I'm bad at math per se, but it's definitely not something I'm used to doing. And the more stuff there is to keep track of, the harder it all gets.
Hey, you're not so good at using your brain either. We're practically twins. That makes us pals now, right? I've got your back. So you just keep on working hard, buddy.
Right back at you. Let's keep fighting the good fight.
Yeah, he makes friends in such the weirdest ways. But Raphael is pretty likable as a character.
Oh, hey Ignatz. What you reading?
Wow.
Yeah, he definitely didn't hear me. Hey, Ignatz!
Ah, what? Oh, it's you. Can you please try to not sneak up on me like that?
Sorry about that. I was trying to talk to you, but it didn't seem like anything was getting through. Looks like you're really into that book, or whatever it is. What's it about? It doesn't look like battle tactics at the very least.
You're right. This is the Traveler's Journal. It chronicles places that lie beyond Fodlan's borders.
You've seriously been lugging books around with you? Though, I admit, that does sound like a good one.
Yes, it's fascinating. The author's unknown, but whoever it was really traveled to all these places and documented everything.
Wonder if it's Anna.
It's amazing how vastly things can differ depending on where you are. Like the plants or the animals or even the ore in the ground. And of course, the way people live in those areas is so diverse too. Like their food and their clothes. But what's most interesting to me is the architecture. Ruins in Fodlan contain ancient architectural styles that are, for some reason, also found on faraway islands.
All right, I get the picture. You talk like you've seen it all firsthand.
Well, I really try to place myself in the author's shoes when I read. So I guess in a way, I have. I'd love to visit all those places myself, but that's easier said than done. Especially since I became a knight.
Sidestep it.
I mean, it's not like I regret becoming a knight or anything.
I wasn't gonna ask, but all right, as long as you're happy.
At any rate, both my father and my brother are pleased that it's official.
Sounds to me like you became a knight for them.
That's not it at all. I'm very happy with my decision, honest.
Even though you can't go off traveling?
Yeah, getting sent out to different locations for battle is kind of the same thing. Oh, but of course the mission always comes first. It's not like I go off wandering whenever I feel the urge.
Uh-huh. But you would if you could, right?
Why do you keep asking me about this? All these leading questions, they're uncalled for. I might not be able to travel of my own volition, but I can read books and go wherever I want in my imagination. And that's good enough for me.
B is for cookie. That's good enough for me. C is for the support level. It's good enough for me.
What a wonderful meal.
Hey, you've still got some food left. You don't want it? That Ogma Wolverine meat's super hard to come by, you know.
Oh, I don't really eat meat. You can have it.
Don't mind if I do then. You know, I always feel strangely energized after eating this stuff.
You look so pleased to be eating it.
It's not every day I get to hear you laugh. Did I look funny or something?
No, it's just that the look on your face made me feel happy.
Instead of just watching other people stuff their faces, maybe you'd enjoy trying some yourself?
I am perfectly content just watching.
Huh. Well, anyway, it seems like you've gotten more comfortable eating with me, Marianne.
I have. When you told me not to act like someone I'm not, at first I didn't know what to do with myself. But I still thought I could learn something from you. And as I talked with you more, I just got used to us eating together.
I see. Then why not branch out and eat with other people too? Mealtimes are a great opportunity to make new friends after all. Making conversation and sitting around the dinner table go hand in hand. That's how we ended up friends, right? It might be a good chance to get to know someone else. What's wrong?
I'm sorry, it's just... my adoptive father said the same thing to me once.
He did?
He often criticized me because I avoided other people so much. He said that, as the heir to House Edmund, I must be at least somewhat sociable. But he never bothered to understand how difficult it was for me to do that.
Encourager.
But you managed to make friends with me. I'm sure if you keep at it, you'll be able to overcome any difficulties.
Maybe you're right. But I don't think it's a good idea for me to get involved with too many people.
Just take it slowly.
Why?
I only bring misery and misfortune to anyone who gets too close to me.
That's not true at all. Why do you even think that?
It is true. I know it.
Okay, if that's the case, then how is it possible for us to be hanging out right now without any problems?
You're right. I should have been more vigilant and kept some distance between us. But you're so kind and I just like being around you. I'm sorry. I'll stay as far away from you as I can from now on. I should go.
Hey, wait! Marianne! What am I gonna do about her?
I was wondering if Marianne and Bernadetta had support conversations. I wonder how that would go.
Yuri's still not back yet? It's been 5 days. What's this? A letter. Not like him to leave his stuff lying around. I wonder if it says anything about where he went. Well, it's just sitting there. Can't hurt to take a peek, right? Are you well? Eating enough? I worry about you all the time. Thank you for sending money always. I want to see you soon. Huh. Is this letter for Yuri? It's got a different name on it.
Having fun?
Yuri! Wow, you really snuck up on me. When did you get back?
Just now. More importantly, why are you snooping through things that don't belong to you? Choose your next words carefully if you don't want them to be your last.
I'll pretend I didn't read it.
It's not what it looks like. You've been gone for a while, so I just wanted to see if you were back yet.
Then what's with the letter? Lying doesn't really work when you've been caught red-handed. Never mind. I can't imagine you'd have a reason to pry into my affairs. I suppose this is what I get for taking off without telling anyone. And for being so careless.
Yeah, I thought you'd be the last person to leave something like this behind. You must have left in a hurry.
You could say that.
5 days. I'll mind my own business.
I see. Well, it must have been important. But I know it's none of my business.
I appreciate your concern, but I don't mind. The letter is from my mother. She's always been prone to illness, but lately her condition has grown worse. I try to visit whenever she asks to see me. Obviously, there are times when I can't go, but I have to take all the time I can get, right? I never know which visit will be my final chance to see her.
I understand. Once someone's gone, they're gone. But wait, the name on that letter, is that your real name? So, Yuri's an alias and you're really
No need to say it. And yes, what parent would call their kid by an alias anyway?
Fair point. It's a nice name though. Why hide it?
In my line of work, it pays to have more than a few names. And don't go telling anyone about this. You won't like to find out what happens if you do.
I'll keep it a secret.
I won't, promise. And if I do slip up, you're free to do your worst. In any case, I am sorry for prying. And for what it's worth, I hope your mom gets better soon.
If it were easy to cure, then we wouldn't even be talking about it. But I appreciate the sentiment nonetheless.
He's a caring son.
Oh, Yuri, you're back. I thought you'd still be away.
Yeah, I thought his a conversation would lock, but it didn't.
Well, look who it is. I figured if I didn't come back before sunset, someone might get worried and ransack my room again.
who might this someone be, huh? You're never gonna let that go, are you?
Just joking, friend. No need to take everything so seriously. Anyway, it's late. Shouldn't you be getting some shut-eye?
Probably, but I just got my second win. How is your mom, by the way?
Well, it's not looking good, that's for sure. But she's still got some fight in her yet. I'd planned on staying longer, but she told me to do what I had to do and sent me on my way. One minute she wants to see me, the next she's telling me to go home. Honestly, she's all over the place.
Reminds me of my mom, the one who raised me anyway.
She passed away, didn't she? Judging by your expression, she must have been pretty special.
She was. More than I can say. She took me in when I'd been abandoned, taught me how to live. We weren't blood related, but she was my mom. No doubt about it.
I'm sure wherever she is now, she's very happy to hear you say that.
Oh, that reminds me. I wanted to ask you something. It's been on my mind for a while now. About your real name? Your mom gave it to you, right? Where does it come from? I've never heard anything like it before.
Look up. No, a little more to the left. See that bright star over there?
Bright star to the left? Which one? There are thousands of stars up there, and they're all bright.
Well, I guess it doesn't matter if you find it or not. Anyway, it's that star's ancient name. The white star that the goddess herself made into a disciple. My mother is a devout follower of Seros. But I know it's a pretty ostentatious name for a penniless kid.
I don't think so. It just shows how much you mean to her.
Yeah. Well, I do like it. She gave it to me after all.
I think it's probably like a man, I'm drawing a blank. It's like probably like a noble name for a commoner.
I'm not sure how much of the scriptures she really understands. But knowing her, I'm certain she put a lot of consideration into my name.
By that I mean it's like a commoner having a noble type of name.
Then doesn't it seem like kind of a waste not to use it? What with how much thought she put into it?
I've used many names, and each one comes with its own mask. But when I hear my real name, all those facades fall away. The only people who can call me that are those who are truly special to me. Immediate family, or someone just as important. Which means that if you're so intent on using my name, you'd better be willing to spend the rest of your life by my side.
First that left.
What are you even talking about, Yuri? That's all a bit much, don't you think?
Obviously. To be honest, I would have been at a loss if you had said you were all for it. Regardless, it does make me happy to hear that you like my name. And if you ever decide you're up for it, let me know, okay? I'll think it over too, just in case.
Honestly, I wonder if his name is ever revealed. It's like, I'm taking a total guess here. I'm thinking it's probably something like Reginald or something like that. But I'm thinking it's probably revealed in one of his other support conversations. Probably with Balthus, but I'm not entirely sure. That ends their support conversations. And that was their whole line of conversations, by the way.
Your Majesty, You will take ill if you keep sleeping at your desk.
Mm-hmm. Dedue? Oh, I've done it again. Yes, well, thank you for waking me and sparing my poor neck any further damage.
You sounded pained. Is everything all right?
Dreaming of the past again, I fear.
The tragedy?
No. The day I returned to the capital afterward. Do you remember the child who cursed me after my father's funeral?
Oh, yes. I believe he was the son of a knight who fell in Dusker.
He was furious that I would not take revenge on your people, and even more enraged to see you serving as my vassal. He berated me without mercy, demanding I kill you then and there. All I could do was walk away. Everyone desires revenge for that day. Survivors and the dead alike cry out for retribution.
I know, Your Majesty.
I seek to fulfill the duty they have given me, and have never once flinched from it. And yet, Dedue, if I were mortally wounded and begged with my dying breath for you to avenge me, what would you do?
I would do it, even at the cost of my life.
And if I told you to forget me, and live for your own happiness?
I would regretfully decline. I cannot know happiness without you by my side. I would still seek vengeance, just for my own sake, not yours.
Interesting. And nothing I say to the contrary will change your mind?
Your Majesty, can you not live for your own sake?
My life is not my own. It belongs to my kingdom, my people, and the dead. But had I been born to a different fate, well, perhaps I would have traveled outside Foland with you as a mercenary. Or perhaps I'd be a farmer. I confess the thought does sound rather delightful.
Surely you could still tread those paths.
It was a jest, Dedue. I merely said the first thing that came to mind. I am driven by matters on which I cannot permit myself to yield. I hope you understand that.
Well then, all the more reason to get some proper rest. If work remains, I will aid you. If you have difficulty sleeping, I will lend you my ear. But seeing you slumped over at your desk disturbs me. Every time, I fear death has come for you in the night.
Death will never sneak up on me as long as I remain under your watchful attention.
Your Majesty, please.
Though, if I were to die and leave you alone, the aftermath would be horrendous. I suppose I will heed your advice. Just this once.
Thank you, Your Majesty.
And that ends our support conversations.
Time certainly does fly, Ashe. Why, it's already been 1.5 years since you became a knight. Still, it must be difficult working in such unfamiliar lands. Are you doing well?
Yeah, I'm great. Everyone in the capital has been really nice, honestly. If anything, I guess I'm still just unsure if I have what it takes to be a knight.
Do not give in to doubt. Remember, most knights currently in the service of House Blathid only entered the castle after I became king. You have fought with me for much longer, and so in that sense, you have the advantage.
Sure, but I'm not nobility. I don't even have a crest. So, I want to repay you for appointing me, even if it costs me my life.
I see. Tell me, Ashe, what exactly does knighthood mean to you?
Huh? I'd say knights are loyal to the king, and willing to give their lives to protect the crown and their people. That's right. Right?
That is indeed what many claim a knight should be, but reality is rarely so rosy. Put bluntly, it is the job of a knight to dispense death. The code of chivalry emphasizes loyalty, yes, but this is only to ensure knights remain under the complete control of their lords.
Well, I mean, I guess that's true.
I have no quarrel with your dedicating yourself to such a code, but there is no need to stake your life upon it.
But...
My closest friend was a knight who served the royal family. He was near to my own age, and I admired him greatly.
I should have waited to advance that. Even though I was probably just a groan.
But one day, I watched him die. He stood his ground and fought bravely, but his life was snuffed out in the blink of an eye all the same.
You're talking about Felix's brother, right? I remember Lord Rodrigue mentioning him.
Yeah, I was gonna say something about that.
His dying screams echo in my mind to this day. My point, Ashe, is that there may come a time when you must decide between your loyalty and your life. And though I know this to be a selfish request, when that day comes, I want you to choose life.
Even if it means turning my bow against you?
Especially then. If you find yourself unable to follow through, I beg you to leave the battlefield quietly and with all haste. I pray it never comes to that.
Right. I have something to say, though. I don't think that friend who protected you threw his life away because he was a knight. He just wanted to save his best friend.
Even if it meant destroying futures that might have come to pass had he but lived?
Look, I don't know if what he did was right.
I was trying to remember his name. His name's Glenn. Felix's brother, I mean.
So if you're asking me not to throw my life away, I promise that I won't. But I don't think it's wrong to fight to the end for someone that you love.
Well put. Perhaps you're right. In any case, I must be off. I have drills I must attend to. After all, I must do everything in my power to be the sort of ruler worthy of such loyalty.
You've done more than enough, Your Majesty. We all respect you to the ends of Fodlan.
You have Ashe's respect. And you have his bow. That ends their support conversations.
Ah, Your Majesty. Tending to your weapon, I see. My apologies for interrupting you.
It's all right. I just finished. Is there something you need, Rodrigue?
Yes, in fact. I received this from Matthias when I was in Gautier territory the other day.
From the Margrave? But this sword is...
He said he'd borrowed it from Lambert years ago, and had long since forgotten about it. What sort of laggard keeps a loan so long he has to return it to the lender's son? 30 years!
That would have been around the time you all attended the Officers' Academy together, correct? Would you mind telling me the story of this sword?
It started when our class was given a mission to eradicate a bandit encampment. Foolish as I was at the time, I dashed in ahead of the others, leaving me and my entire unit stranded behind enemy lines. Apparently, your father and Matthias started arguing about whether or not it was worth coming to save me. Broke out into a full-on fistfight before long.
That's a surprise. I wouldn't have expected that of my father, much less the Margrave.
Well, they were both pretty feisty in their day. Neither of them wanted to back down, I'm sure. On one hand, you had Matthias, insisting they wait for aid from the church. Supplies were running low, so charging in could have gotten everyone killed. On the other Lambert was so determined to come to our rescue, he'd have gone all by himself if he had to. No idea whose plan won in the end, sadly. All I know is they fought their way through the enemy lines together. And lucky for me, they found us before the bandits did.
So, my father tended to charge in recklessly as well. Or perhaps he was just naive in his youth.
Story goes, Matthias's lance broke while they were fighting their way toward us, so Lambert lent him this sword. As he was giving it to me, he couldn't help but laugh about how it slipped his mind for all these years.
Considering what I know of the Margrave, I have my doubts that he actually forgot it at all.
You're probably right. This is just my opinion, but I don't think he ever really managed to accept Lambert's death until you ascended the throne.
Perhaps. In any case, please tell him I've received it. And thank you for relaying that story to me. It seems even in his youth, my father was willing to do whatever it took to see those close to him safe. Yet here I've gone and started a war, knowing full well it will hurt those I care about most. He'd likely call me a fool if he were here today.
I'm not so sure about that. Yes, he did treasure his friends. But I don't think he would have been too keen on abandoning the church either, considering all they've done to protect the people of Fargus.
Rodrigue, you knew my father well. Could I ask you to do something for me? If I ever attempt anything that would bring shame to his name, please.
Say no more. I'll stop you, even if I have to lay down my life to do it. I already promised him the same thing, actually.
You have my deepest thanks.
Everyone is strangely abuzz today. Is there a visiting minstrel or a mummer's troupe?
Haven't you heard, mister? A funny knight's been coming to town recently.
A funny night, hey?
Oh, yeah, he's super strong. He can carry all the blacksmith stuff by himself. And he got those guys who kept picking fights at the tavern to finally shut up. But he's also kind of weird, too. Like when you talk to him, sometimes he seems sheltered and obtuse, but then sometimes not.
Why does that sound like... No, it couldn't be.
Yuri, what are you doing here?
I knew it.
I'm glad I ran into you. We have a broken wagon that needs fixing, and I could use a hand.
I can't believe you. Come with me a second. Are you an idiot? What are you doing here?
I had some time on my hands and thought I'd see how things are going in town.
Then stick to the more upscale streets. This alley is dangerous. It's not quite a full-blown slum, but money is still in pretty short supply. What are we supposed to do if someone introduces our king to a nice pointy knife while he's out wandering the streets? By himself, might I add.
How am I supposed to learn what it means to be a commoner without using my own eyes? All I ever see from my throne are the upscale streets, as you call them. And yes, I could send someone here in my stead, but there is no substitute for first-hand experience.
You know you don't have an heir, right? If you die, the entire region gets thrown into a bloody civil war over who gets to succeed you. Lots of nobles will die, but the commoners? The commoners will be absolutely slaughtered. Right now, people seem to like you, so it's in all of our interest that you live a long and healthy life. Got it? And if you insist on coming here, at least bring that giant oaf of yours along to watch your back.
Perhaps I was being a bit reckless.
It's good to know that even a fool like you can see reason on occasion.
In that case, might I ask you to act as my bodyguard today? I'm certain you're more than up to the task.
What?
If I could get a look at this town through your eyes, I think I could learn many valuable lessons. Besides, if I ask Dedue, he'll surely forbid me from coming here at all. I would be grateful if you would consent to doing this favor for me.
Oh, this is rich. A king asking me for help. Fine. In that case, Your Majesty. I will do all in my power to safeguard your royal person. Happy?
How dare he speak to the king like that? It's gonna be a weird dynamic, but that's Yuri for you.
I'll figure something out, I promise. Just write to your father, okay?
I will.
Hey there, Dedue. Can I help you with something?
No, just passing by.
You sure? Looks like you really want to say something.
I was touched by your interaction with that woman.
What's that supposed to mean?
During our academy days, I often heard untoward rumors about you. You had a tendency to skip training and a certain reputation concerning women. You caused His Majesty all manner of headaches.
I can't deny that. But that's all in the past. I'm a lot more responsible these days, don't you think?
Don't expect praise for merely doing your job.
Right.
Though I have been curious about what caused this change of heart.
Change of heart might be taking it a bit too far. It's just, I always see how Dimitri and Felix are out there doing all these amazing things. So I can't very well be goofing around when they're off making names for themselves. Call it a sibling rivalry.
Sibling rivalry?
They're like brothers to me, which is exactly why I don't want them looking down on me.
I see. I understand how you feel. I had a younger sister.
Had? Oh. Tell me about her. What was she like?
She loved flowers, and often made crowns out of them. And once she set her mind to something, nothing in the world could change it.
Aw, she sounds sweet. And a little intimidating.
You cannot flirt with the dead, try as you might.
Whoa, hold on. I was just being honest. I'm sorry I never got the chance to meet her.
He would have flirted with her.
I mean, if her protective older brother didn't kick me into next week first.
I may just have done so. Sylvain, you should visit Duscur after this war is over. My sister's grave is there. It's nothing special, but I would like to show it to you sometime.
I would love to, my friend. And I'll make sure to bring a giant bouquet of flowers with me.
She would like that very much.
Friends, what are they for? That ends our support conversations.
Me! Teach me how to cook next.
All right. I will teach you a special recipe that is certain to delight everyone back at the church.
His Majesty is looking for you, Mercedes.
Goodness, whatever was that about?
My apologies. I have a tendency to frighten animals and children. Perhaps it's my imposing stature, or perhaps it's because I'm from Duscur.
I doubt animals know anything about the tragedy of Duscur, Dedue.
Okay. Okay.
Still, I think I may know how to solve this little problem of yours.
Oh?
You see, many of the children here have lost homes and families,
They tend to be a fearful bunch. And as a large man who is also unnaturally quiet, you cut a doubly scary figure. So all we have to do is show them how not scary you are.
And how do we do that?
Come back tomorrow. I'll have it all worked out by then.
Very well. Done. Here's your flower crown.
Wow, mister. You're just as amazing as Miss Mercedes.
Yeah, this is the prettiest flower crown I've ever seen.
It's like an actual royal crown. Oh, make one for me. Please, please, please.
I could, though it would be better to learn how to make your own.
Oh, but my crowns always look all... bleh.
Anyone can do it with enough practice. Well, perhaps not anyone. But if you find it difficult, you can always ask a friend for help.
Fine, I'll try. So how do I start?
Twist the stem there and wrap it once, but gently.
Well, how did it go? They certainly looked at ease around you.
They were indeed, and I owe it all to you.
All I did was brag to them about the magnificent flower crown you made for me.
How very clever.
Oh, please, I barely did a thing. It was your kindness that won them over.
You were the kind one, Mercedes. Thank you.
Miss Mercedes! Mr. Dedue! Look how far I am.
Oh, that's wonderful. Might you teach me how to make one as well, Mr. Dedue?
It would be my pleasure, Miss Mercedes.
Teaching everybody how to make flower crowns. So that ends their score conversations.
Oh, how do I even...
Annette, what are you doing?
Oh, Dedue! Perfect timing. Got a sec? So, here's my problem. I'm not entirely sure how to... use this thing.
That is a hero's relic, yes?
Ah.
Yep, it's called Crusher. I know, pretty intimidating. It used to belong to my uncle.
I'm guessing this one probably didn't unlock until I got Crusher. Until I got the actual weapon.
But it's really, really heavy. Just lugging it around tires me out like nothing else. Plus, whenever I swing the thing, I feel like it's gonna take me right along with it.
It does look heavy, yes. Even without its power as a relic, no armor could possibly stand against such weight.
Sounds like I need to build up some muscle then. That's probably gonna take a while, huh? Too bad I'm not already as big and tall as you.
You might not be able to change your stature, but physique isn't everything.
You know, I think I've heard my father say the same thing. And if that's the case, I'd like to try a few things. Have time to help?
Very well.
Thanks. Though, on second thought, I probably shouldn't go around swinging a relic at you.
I often do my training with a large bag of rocks.
That could work.
Use your entire body, Annette. If you only use your arms, you'll be sent spinning.
Okay, like this?
Yeah!
Exactly.
Whew, what a workout. Still, I feel like I'm starting to get the hang of it. Thanks, Dedue. You're a lifesaver.
Glad to be of service.
I wasn't sure I'd ever be able to wield something like a hero's relic. But you gave me the motivation to try. I'm gonna use this puppy to keep everyone safe. Just you watch.
Yes, I'm sure you will.
Huh?
He had doubts. But that's one thing. It's like I wanted to train Annette as an axe wielder so she could use Crusher. But I don't think I'm going to be able to have enough time to do that. And I don't think her stats will be able to actually match with that class. Because I don't think her defense is that great.
Oh, Dedue. Must be my lucky day if I'm running into you here. Hey, what's with the scowl? Do we have a problem?
All the residents in this town are people of Duscur. It may be within the kingdom, but it holds neither monastery nor church. What is your reason for coming here?
Wait, Dimitri and Lady Rhea didn't tell you?
They did not.
I know everyone's been busy, but that's unacceptable. Well, there was a major fire here, right? Lady Rhea asked us to come help rebuild. We brought rations too. Never hurts to have a little more food in your stores. So relax, please. I swear on the goddess herself that we don't intend to harm any of you.
I did ask His Majesty to spare some aid in rebuilding the town. But I did not expect the task to fall to you.
What kind of church are we if we don't help those in need? Besides, we owe Fargus quite the debt. You guys took us in, even going as far as to start a war with the Empire in the process. This is the least we can do to return the favor.
Man, that was so long ago.
Surely the Knights of Seiros have long since repaid their debts on the battlefield.
Maybe the Knights have, but the monks and scholars won't let us hear the end of it if we don't let them pitch in too. So when Lady Rhea heard about the fire, she apparently jumped at the chance to help.
Is that so?
I know the people of Duscur will have their concerns, since they're not followers of Seiros. But it'll all be fine. And we can't just sit around twiddling our thumbs while people out there desperately need help, can we? At least, that's how all of us who follow the teachings of Lady Rhea view it. You're free to supervise if you still don't trust us.
No. You seem to be speaking the truth. His Majesty has expressed similar sentiments in the past. I believe your desire to help is sincere.
Thanks, Dedue. I was starting to think you were about to tell us to pack up and go home. Well, now that we're all square on that front, point us toward what needs the most help. We'll do manual labor, planning, you name it.
In that case, I'd ask that you clear away the burnt wood and help distribute food to the townsfolk. I will explain to everyone what you're doing here.
Yes, that's probably for the best. I'm sure they'll be much more willing to listen to you. Anyway, we'd better get to work.
I think that animosity was probably because she works with the church. But we'll see what happens with their B conversation, which is their last conversation. But that'll be later, because I don't have it yet. Alright, so that will be all of the support conversations for this chapter. So I have none left as up to this point. Next time, we'll be going into the main quest for this chapter. So until then, I'll be seeing you.